Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing very well today. It's now March the 27th. It's a Monday. It's about 7 a.m. here in Istanbul, Turkey. And we're going to take a look at what Bitcoin is doing right now, what it could be doing, this pattern that it's forming right now, this sideways market that we've seen over the past 10 days now that hasn't really done too much. And we're also going to talk about how we have to be extremely patient as a trader, because the more trades that we take throughout the day that are bad trades, it's going to eventually add more risk. So it's really important for us to only focus on the trades that we think are worth our time. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. My name is Philakone, and I've been in the crypto market for about 8 years now. Super long time. I've had so many ups, so many downs. There are moments where I almost went broke because of my stupid spending and bad choices that I've made. Thank goodness that I always had a bag to hold on to. And I've made so many mistakes, like you would have no idea how many times I was on the brink of having to withdraw from my long-term holdings just to live because I had no incoming cash because the markets were really bad. And over the years, I've made so many mistakes, and now I can tell you about some of these mistakes and passed on some wisdom to you so you don't make these kind of mistakes again. These mistakes don't have to be expensive if other people make them for you. As long as you have an open mindset, you're willing to learn, you're taking notes, and you're constantly striving to make improvements, not only in your life, but also in the real world of trading as well. You can eventually achieve and become the successful trader that I know you can be. For example, myself, I'm on a crazy workout schedule and diet right now where I wake up about 4 hours earlier every day before I actually start trading, and I start working out, exercising, eating properly, starting my day in a healthy way. Then I go on the computer and actually start making videos for you guys. But this one, I always make a video during my pre-workout before it kicks in. So then I get to upload it for you guys, and I get to work out extremely hard and exercise. I believe that in life, your discipline that you have, it can also be translated to any other discipline that you choose to put it into. For example, if you're disciplined in everything that you do in your life, it can also translate to day trading as well. Whereas if you're disciplined in day trading, first of all, that's how I developed my discipline initially. I'm now trying to apply it into living a more healthy lifestyle, trying to eat better, trying to watch what I eat, trying to exercise properly, and follow a strict regimen, just like in day trading. And now it's going to benefit my life in a healthy way. And I firmly believe that if we adopt these philosophies of how trading discipline is interchangeable with everything that we do in our life, we can ultimately be much more successful and achieve the things that we want. So right now, it's a very slow market, so don't be discouraged. Unfortunately, there's going to be many times where the market is like this. So Bitcoin has been ranging sideways now in a range of about 7 to 8% up and down over 10 days now. And that doesn't really provide a lot of opportunities for us to find other trades. We have to remember that Bitcoin is going to move a certain amount, and then these alts have something called a beta. And a beta is basically a comparison to the main coin, which is Bitcoin, and then it moves by a different amount compared to what Bitcoin moves when Bitcoin moves. So coins with a high beta, for example, Bitcoin moved about 5%. These coins that have a high beta could move anywhere from, say, 10 to 15%, whereas some alts have a much lower beta. So when Bitcoin is in a sideways motion, it's important for us to find these coins that are moving against Bitcoin. And when I say move against Bitcoin, I'm referring to when Bitcoin's doing nothing, these coins are still moving regardless. And unfortunately, we had a really good bull market that lasted, well, fortunately rather, and then we had a sideways market for a long period of time, which is about now. We've also had other periods during consolidation of about 20 days of doing nothing at all. So the patience is extremely important as a day trader, and especially if you're in my Discord group as well. When you're in my Discord group, I know you're expecting me to find lots of trades for us, and unfortunately, it doesn't happen all the time. But when the market does move, you're going to find me trading very heavily with the group, finding very consistent setups. So because I'm trading $1 million position sizes for pretty much every single coin, I have to be extremely careful about what to trade. I have to be diligent about where I'm going to allocate my risk, because I can't trade as if I had like $10,000 or $5,000 and take on a lot more risk, because the value of those position sizes, it's a lot less, so I don't mind losing more. But with $1 million, you have to really take a step back and be like, okay, what are my criterias to trade? And the criteria is to trade, they're extremely important for your overall growth as a trader. You have to see yourself as someone who is going to eventually trade with $1 million. So you have to build the same type of discipline and the same strategies now to assume that you will reach there one day. So for example, you don't want to look at a coin that has like $5 or $10 million of trading volume. And the reason for this is because if you were to trade these coins with $1 million position size, there's going to be a lot of slippage. Slippage is basically the difference between the price that you're looking to enter in versus the price that you're actually getting. And this happens with the slippage because of liquidity issues. On a very low volume coin, there's not going to be as much liquidity. So as your market executing a large position size, you're gobbling up the walls for the asks, or you're gobbling up the walls for the bids if you're actually selling as well. So this is going to create a big percentage difference of maybe 1 to 2%. So for a day trader, 1 to 2% is a significant amount, especially if you're a scalper where you're going for large position sizes, you're risking a very minimal amount, and you're going for a very small gain. So as a scalper, these small percentages, they really add up, especially on top of fees as well. So low liquidity, low volume coins are out of the question. I completely recommend to not even look at them. The first thing that you should look at for criteria wise is to look at the volume. If, for example, it's not reaching a 50 million to 100 million and up dollars per 24 hours traded, do not look at it. Always use Binance as the standard. So whatever coin you're trading, go to Binance, check out the futures market. It's usually there. If it's not over $50 million of trading volume, I do not recommend trading it. And 50 million is on the very, very low side as well. So I recommend at least 100 million and up. So another criteria for trading is to have volatility. You don't want to trade a coin that has low volatility. That coin must have moved a certain amount for me to be interested in it. And that movement amount is usually, well, depends on the time. If it's a very short period of time, 5% will do, and then I might get interested in it. If it's a longer period of time, maybe 10%. And I'm looking for one gigantic fractal move to the upside. If you're looking for a good wave that goes to the upside, it would assume that it's moving in a linear way or perhaps even a parabolic way, which is going to imply that this coin has got volatility. So you don't want to trade a coin that's just sitting there and doing nothing and going sideways. The reason for that is because you're now in a guessing game when it's in sideways motion. Now, don't get me wrong, the coins that are having a pattern, such as a triangle of some sort, ascending, descending, symmetric triangle, pennants, those are really good coins to take advantage of when they're hitting these supports or resistance points. But if it's just literally sideways and it's going up and down, above and below pretty much every single EMA and chandelier exit indicator, it's probably a good reason to not trade it. And the reason for that is because you're hoping for a breakout that may not even happen. Breakout up or breakout down. Not only that, for example, Bitcoin back in November and December, we ended up going sideways for about 45 days. So if you were in the position then, your money might be tied up in a potential move that may not even happen. So there might be a lot of other opportunities that are going to come by. This way, you can put your money in the coins that are moving, the ones that show opportunity already right now. So as a day trader, it's important to focus on the coins that are immediately moving rather than putting your money in a sideways coin that may or may not even move. So your money's tied up and you're missing out on the other opportunities that you may have that come up in front of you as they're showing more volatility in other coins. So definitely don't do that. Putting your money in a EMA range that's going sideways. Like the definition to me of sideways is where it's going up and down, above the EMA, below the EMA. It's just crossing up and down and literally sideways. Also, MACD is sideways. It's in the neutral, zero line that's not going above or below. Also, you're going to see it, for example, the RSI. It's going to be just neutral ranges between 35 and perhaps 65 RSI. And then there's also the chandelier exit indicator where it's going from green to red all the time. Those coins, definitely stay away from them. So there's the volatility that you need to have criteria for. And then there's also the volume as well that you need to have the criteria for. So when you start to develop these criteria for trading, you eventually build up this discipline that's going to be extremely important to your success in the future. Because the last thing you want to do is just go for every coin that may have some sort of potential or that's just moving a little bit. So for example, right now, we have to find those coins that are moving against Bitcoin. And if we can do that, we're going to increase the chances of us finding a successful day trade position. But on most days right now, we're only finding about 1 to 2 coins that are moving against Bitcoin. Now think of this compared to a bull market. In a bull market, each day you'll get like 20 volatile coins moving all over 20%. And that's gigantic. And then you'll also find like the high volatile coins, the high volume coins as well. They're all being traded over $200 million of 24-hour volume, and they're moving over 20%. So let's just say you had a sample size of 20 coins to choose from. Well, your chances of finding a really good trade is going to be much higher than if only one coin were moving that day. Because with 20 coins, you can dissect each and every coin and do a technical analysis on them, and you can find out which one has the best opportunity to trade. So for example, one coin might be forming a beautiful ascending triangle, and it just finished only one wave. So you would assume that another wave is about to begin. So this has got an amazing opportunity versus a coin that's, for example, still just dropping and dropping and dropping. There's no clear pattern that's forming. Despite it moving already, there's no clear pattern. It's still dropping, right? So if you had those two coins to choose from, you probably choose the coin that has the ascending triangle. So it's all about variation and also options. If you have more coins to choose from, you're going to increase your chance of finding a successful pattern or continuation pattern for you to trade. Does that make sense? Whereas right now, there's only one coin or two coins that are moving differently than Bitcoin, and now you're forced to settle down with only 1 or 2 coins to trade. Just because there's 1 or 2 coins moving, it doesn't mean that the criteria are met to actually day trade this coin. It might be hitting a major resistance already, and there might be a long period of consolidation, right? It might have moved parabolically and then dropped to the downside, which makes the next wave really difficult to catch. So the criteria is really important after it moves as well. So now you're looking at volume. Okay, that's really important to look at first of all. If it doesn't meet the minimum volume, you have to not look at the trade at all. And then 2, it must be volatile. So if the coin's not moving in terms of volatility and volume, you just don't look at it. It's got to meet those. And then 3, after the volume and the volatility is met, you have to identify a possible pattern to trade. Is there a possible pattern for you to profit from? What is the continuation pattern? Is it likely you can catch a short perhaps at the top? Is there a continuation pattern where you can long it on a potential breakout? So these criteria, they must be met as well. And before you go into any trade, you have to know your entry, your exit, your stop loss. These things need to be extremely clear for you to enter a trade. And that leads me to this over here. So definitely check this out, guys. Check out Team Philakone Essentials. If you guys are looking to get a really cool mouse pad with some day trading rules, it's in the link below. I decided to finally make some merch because a lot of people want these Team Philakone hats of mine. And also people want these t-shirts that I'm wearing. These cool Team Philakone 100% organic cotton t-shirts. And I made these day trading rules here that you can take a look at. It goes for, I think, $49. And there's lots of day trading rules on here. So it's a huge, huge mouse pad. It's RGB, it's LED, so you can get some cool lights on there. It's about, I think, 90 centimeters long and 50 centimeters deep or so. So it's a gigantic mouse mat here. It looks awesome. Quality is really high. And before you go into the trades, you can say to yourself these things, or you can review my 13 commandments of trading. For example, I will maintain discipline and stick to my trading plan. I will risk a maximum of 2% per trade. I will never hesitate to cut my losses. I will document and review every trade. So this is one of them. And the other one's really cool as well over here, where I made a gigantic green one. So this is something that's really going to help you. I know maybe it's not money that you're looking to spend right now, but trust me, if you read this every single day before you took a trade, and you're going to have a different set of skills, and you're not going to really disobey or disrespect these checklists. This is the successful day trading checklist. For example, am I likely to win a trade? This is before you enter a trade, right? Will I be disciplined and stick to my trading plan? Do I have multiple reasons to enter this trade? How long will this trade take? Is my position size acceptable? Is my leverage acceptable? Am I confident taking this trade? So you have to answer all these questions before you actually enter a trade. So let's just take a look at Bitcoin. I wanted to just tell you guys a little bit about my thoughts of the market and what it means to be a successful trader, and especially some of the characteristics that are important to develop the criteria to enter a trade. So as we can see here, Bitcoin has been trending sideways since pretty much March the 18th here. I think since over here, we've trended sideways in a motion of about 8.5%, which doesn't really give a whole lot of room for other coins to be moving. So this has been trending for 9 days now. Unfortunately, nothing has happened. But we've seen periods like that before. Okay, so for example, here we saw this sideways period that lasted for like 5 days or so before a major drop happened. Here as well, we saw this gigantic period of consolidation that was sideways. And this one here lasted about 6 days or so. So that was another very long period of consolidation. So unfortunately, sometimes things are going to happen in a sideways motion and we're just going to have to wait on it. Here was the worst one. It ranged 8% for 19 days or so. That one we had to wait a very long time. And here as well, we see other periods of consolidation where patterns are identified. This one was ranging 5% over 6 days. That one was an easy short as well that we could have taken. A short right there that breaks the trend line. And this one here was another short we could have taken that breaks the trend line. And then you can catch it for another huge wave to the downside. So trading continuations are extremely important. As long as we're able to identify these types of patterns that are forming, we're going to be able to trade the continuation. And that's how the majority of my income is made in day trading. I short the continuation or I long the continuation after a breakout. So once this happens, it's easy to trade in my opinion. For example, another continuation was over here. Or not a continuation, but a pattern that looked like it was bullish, but it just never really did anything, right? So this one here, you can kind of see like that. Maybe take some wicks as bear trap regions down over here. We can see an ascending triangle possibly forming. And then fortunately, it went down instead, and we were able to catch a short position at the top over here. So this one dropped 20% from there. So there's other periods as well where we saw in 2023 early, or the November, December, where this guy here literally did nothing for a long period. Like over here, this guy moved for about 23 days of nothing. This one here definitely was considered somewhat sideways as well. Sure, it ranged 18% on the high side, but realistically it moved like 10% over 2 months. So that made it very, very difficult to trade. So this is why it's extremely important to be patient and to have criteria when you're trading. Always hunt for a continuation pattern that's going to help you capitalize on major profits if you're able to observe these types of flags or pennants or triangle patterns that are going to be forming. So on the weekly, Bitcoin closed pretty decently. It closed over, well, as long as it closed over 25,000-ish, I would have been very happy, because if we closed below 25,000, we would have went right back below these supports, and that wouldn't have been great. I think that's a pretty key number right now to stay above 25,000, 25,300, around there. So the weekly closed above that, but it had a doji candle. And these doji candles are indecisive. They could mark the end of a bull run at the top because there shows tension with the bulls and the bears. But it could also show that the bulls are pretty strong to reject going to the downside. So when I see a doji, for example, after only one big green candle, it makes me wonder, is it actually the end? Maybe if there were a series of green candles and then there was one doji candle like that, I would be very bearish. But right now, there's not. There's only one big green candle and a red doji. So on the weekly, we're still trending upwards. There's no signs of slowing down on the MACD. On the RSI is still going up as well. But we did stall now for 3 weeks at the top over here, roughly. Or this is the 3rd week. And then if we take a look at the monthly is closing incredibly bullish. So this is the weekly here. We see the price action above both the 55 and 200, which is really bullish. There was a potential for us to cross to the downside, but it actually just never happened. And instead, the bulls came to the rescue before the death cross, and we ended up getting a major rally to the upside, which is phenomenal in my opinion. So now, as long as we stay above these regions, these EMAs, the 55 and the 200, I think there's a really good chance for us to hit the $30,000 regions. And that would be the next target. The next target would be $30,000 or exactly within this range over here, maybe 31.5 on the high side. And the reason I say that is because we found major support over here. Support, support, support. So because of that, I think that it would be valid to say that it's not going to break above it the first time. In fact, if it breaks above it the first time, I would be extremely worried for the bears. Because if we broke above here, it would imply that we are extremely bullish and we're probably going to hit some monster numbers. So right now, I think this is going to be a great place to get a rejection finally for a longer period of time. And then I think honestly that this year, we're just going to hover between these ranges somewhere of the low and there. Bulls are going to win some months. Bears are going to win other months as well. And we're just going to have a constant fight that's going to lead up to the Bitcoin halving. And then once the Bitcoin halving occurs, I would expect a major bull market to begin sometime in 2024 that will lead up to perhaps the end of 2025. So right now, it's important to stay cautious with the trade setups that you're taking. Only take on risk for day trading if it's a position that's really worth taking. I haven't actually day traded in 2 weeks, not because I don't want to, but because I'm not able to find a position that's worth me trading a $1 million size and worth risking $20,000, $30,000, because that's a gigantic amount. If I'm risking, say, 1 to 2%, that's $10,000 to $20,000 for each trade that I'm risking. And to me, that's a big amount of money. And yes, I am comfortable with it. That's why I trade these big of an amount. But because they're so big, I have to be very cautious about how much I'm risking now, because I don't want for example, small loss to turn into a catastrophic one because of something parabolic happening. So be very, very safe. Keep dollar cost averaging, in my opinion, as well. The dollar cost averaging is going to ensure that you're successful long term, and it doesn't matter what the price is, you're still going to be building that long-term portfolio. And for myself, my long-term portfolio has always outperformed day trading in a bull market. So the long-term portfolio, that's where you're going to really make the gigantic money. And in the next video, I'll talk about the coins that I hold in my portfolio, and I'll also talk about the strategies that I'll be using in the bull market. So thank you very much for joining me, guys. I just wanted to make a short video before I start exercising. And the key takeaway from this is to make sure you have criteria for when you're day trading. Don't just go into any single trade because you think it could make you profit. Be very picky about the trades that you take and only risk your money when you're very sure. That's why I think you guys should consider getting this mouse pad. It might just change your life. It's only like $55 after shipping or $60. And it's a really good investment on it, guys, because you have this trading checklist. Trust me, the last thing I care about is making money from merch. My day trading profits and my portfolio, they highly exceed what I make selling merchandise. The only reason I made this is because I really believe it's going to help people be a successful trader long term if they can overcome some of these things on the checklist. So definitely go to the website, read it every single day when you're going to take a trade, read it every single time you're in a trade. It's going to help you build discipline, and remember the key things are extremely important. And don't forget, guys, that I am also releasing the Ultimate Bull Market Strategy Guide Gift Package Edition. There's only going to be 100 that's going to be sold, and that's it. I'm writing the Ultimate Bull Market Strategy Guide book. That's a 200-page book, super well written. There's literally no mistakes in it because I've been editing it like crazy for the past 2 months now. It's a companion book that's really thick, pages, hardcover. I'll have a sample for you very soon. And it's a gift package with only 100 available. What comes in the gift package? There's a cool Team Philakone LED display that you put on your desk. And there's also going to be a really cool bookmark as well that comes with the book. And it's going to come in a beautiful gift package like you're buying something super high-end. And you're going to feel very proud of owning it. It also comes with a cool contract that you're going to sign with yourself. And it's going to make a lot of promises to yourself to stay disciplined so you don't give up. And every time you feel discouraged, you're going to take a look at this contract that you signed with yourself. So you're going to remember your goals in case you feel a little bit lost sometimes. But it's really cool that the last thing that you get in this gift package, so you get a lifetime Discord membership, you get the Ultimate Bull Market Strategy Guide course online, you get the book gift package that will be mailed to you and you'll receive it in about 2 weeks after paying for it. But the last thing that you get is the coolest. You're going to be entered into a draw with only 100 other people. That's it. Just 100 people. And then this draw is going to get you a 3-day vacation in Istanbul, Turkey, where I live. And I pay for everything. I'm going to pay for your flight. I'm also going to pay for your hotel as well and all of your food. And we're going to hang out for 3 days. we're going to day trade in this setup of mine right here in this office. You guys can ask me any questions that you want. We'll trade with a pretty reasonable size so you can get excited as well. You can take some of my profits as well. Take a good percentage of it. You'll get 50% of my profits. If I make anything that day, I'll trade with a $50,000 to $100,000 position size. Hey, you never know. I might make $10,000 that day and you might just make $5,000 yourself. Not only are we going to day trade, but we're also going to tour around Istanbul. I'm going to show you guys everything. So we just get to hang out for 3 days. And there's only 100 people that will be able to buy this. Keep in mind. And it's going to go for $1,350. And I think it's going to be the best investment that you can ever make in yourself. And I always constantly update this bull market strategy guide. For example, right now, I'm going to be incorporating this current bull market that we're in right now, this miniature one. I'm going to be adding about 5 hours of content this week to this guide, so everyone's going to be caught up. And I'll be adding more and more and more and more as well as we get closer to the bull market. So you're always going to be learning. So if you want to prepay for this right now, you should, because it's going to sell out very fast. As soon as I get the sample book in, which will be in about 10 days, and I show people and I take a picture of, everyone's going to buy just like my last book there. So consider it. I think it's going to be an awesome investment, and I just want to be contributing to your success. So the key takeaway in this video would be that it's got to hold above these moving averages, the 55 and the 200 on the weekly chart, and we're going to stay bullish. And that's on the bullish side, right? As long as we stay above there. On the bearish side, we're going to rally a little bit and find very much so rejection at the top over here. And this rejection is stemmed from all the way back in January of 2021. So I don't think we're going to break above there anytime soon because we've had some major support ranges that now act as a major resistance going upwards. So thank you very much for joining me. If you love my content, make sure you can support me just by hitting the like button. That's it. And just make sure you're hitting subscribe if you haven't already. And also the notification bell. This way you get alerted every time I post a video. Have yourselves a great day, and thank you so much for watching this video. Bye now.